Aloha and welcome to Experience 51. This is the second part of the Meteor Bootstrap browser history experience, or it's part two involving this particular application that we're developing. And in the last experience, what we basically did was create a one-page app. Okay, all the content was on the home page. These links really didn't do that much. And all we're going to do in this one is fix that so that the home page only has this introductory text, and we actually make functional links that go to separate pages. You can see here's the Internet Explorer page that has the history of Internet Explorer. Okay, so the goal for this is to get a little more comfortable with our application template by doing some simple creation of routes using Iron Router and adding some simple templates. Just about the easiest kind of thing. You're going to see we're going to whip through this WAD in nothing flat, if with any luck anyway, because it's just not hard what we're going to be doing. And I hope that that's what you're going to start feeling about application development with Meteor, is that it just isn't that hard actually. You know, there's some concepts that you have to kind of have in your head in order to develop it, but once those concepts are down, and it shouldn't take too long, you'll find that the actual coding is really very straightforward. At least that's what I'm hoping. So make sure that you've finished that prior experience, E50, and for this you want to review the use of routing. Okay, so we go here, directory structure, pre-installed packages. They talk about the different pages. That's good because we're going to need to do pages. And they talk about routing. Okay, and so you know, you have seen some Iron Router before, but you could look a little bit at this. And in particular, we're going to be fiddling around with this file here, and you can see that it's almost self-explanatory how this routing works. Once you see that, and this is one of the things that I do, is that if we just give a router a name like this, it's going to look for a template with the exact same name, and lo and behold, we're going to create templates with the same name as the corresponding route, which is, you know, going to make life pretty easy. Okay, so heck. Okay, so let's get back here to our WAD. So and I guess what we could do is also, let's go to here, and we should bring up our local host. Okay, so here's our running Meteor browser history app, which has everything on one page, and you can see these things. These links don't really do anything right now because everything's basically on the same page. Okay, let's start the WAD. All right, so let's start the timer. And we're going to create a branch of our local Meteor browser history called multi-page 1. So if we go to GitHub and we're in Meteor browser, and then we go here and we're going to say multi-page 1. Obviously, if you're repeating the WAD, you'll create multi-page 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And the second thing we'll do is create a new directory in app client templates called browsers. Okay, so if we go back to the code here, you can see what we're going to do in templates, propeller n, d for directory, return. We're going to put all of our templates for each of our 3 browsers inside this one directory. That's the idea. And so we've created that directory called browsers, and then inside this directory create a template file called internetexplorer.html. Create an actual template in this file called Internet Explorer, and put our Internet Explorer history text in this template. Now there's a bunch of different ways we could do this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to make if I look at my home.html, here's a template, it's called home, and it contains my text for Internet Explorer inside it. So being the lazy person that I'm just going to propeller C to copy, propeller V to paste, and then I'm going to rename this to Internet Explorer. Okay, and sure, let's add it to Git. And then inside here, I'm going to rename the template to Internet Explorer. And then I am going to get rid of the stuff that isn't about Internet Explorer. So that starts right here, and it goes to the end. And then what I just want to point out this really nice thing in IntelliJ, which is it says closing tag matches nothing. It shows us that this particular div doesn't have a matching div. So we can propeller delete to get rid of that line. This one also is marked that way. It doesn't have propeller delete, get rid of it. And then I'm going to do a propeller option L to reformat everything, which makes me happy in that now everything, I can tell that everything lines up. So that's my Internet Explorer template, right? Okay, so let's go back and see what we're supposed to do next. So we created a template file called internetexplorer.html. We put the template called Internet Explorer inside it. We put the history text inside this template. Now we go to router.applib.router.js to contain a new route called Internet Explorer with the URL Internet Explorer. The route's to the template Internet Explorer. Okay, so it's all about Internet Explorer. So let's go back to IntelliJ. We go in the lib. This is stuff that runs on both client and server, if you recall, and by virtue of calling it lib, it means it's going to be loaded first, which is generally what you want to do with those kind of files. And so what I suggest we do, let's just overwrite one of these pre-existing routes, because we're not going to need it for, so we could say this is the route name, the URL, excuse me, and then the name of this route is going to be called Internet Explorer. And by default, if we don't say anything else, then Iron Router is going to look for a template called Internet Explorer, which will be embedded in this particular layout template, which is where we get our nav bar and our footer, which has nothing in it. Okay, so having done that, we've created a route called Internet Explorer. It's going to go to that particular template. And finally, we're going to update the navbar link with a link labeled Internet Explorer that retrieves this page. Okay, so what I want to note here is that you might want to refer to the original header.html file to see the path for syntax. So let's click on this link. Actually, let's open it in a new tab. We'll go here. And this is what I wanted to make sure you guys see, is that the way that you use the router to automatically generate paths is through this handlebar syntax that says handlebars, then path for, and then the name of the template, or the name of the route, which is in our case going to be the name of the template as well. So here, let's just copy this guy right here, which is the syntax that we want, and then we go to our header file, and then here for Internet Explorer, we're going to copy in this path for, and of course it's not add stuff, but it's Internet Explorer. Okay, and so that's how we're going to get our Internet Explorer link to work with our router. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so we updated the navbar, then we're going to manually test the navbar link and see that the page is retrieved successfully. So let's go here, and now we can see if we hold the link over here and then look down there. Okay, so I'm holding the link. You can see down at the bottom of the screen, localhost 3000 / Internet Explorer. That looks right. So we click, and there we go. We have our page. It's in a well. It looks exactly like what it's supposed to look like here. Okay. So let's repeat these steps, creating template files for both Chrome and Firefox. Okay, so let's just blast away on that. So I'm going to propeller C, propeller V, we'll call this one Chrome, and then, heck, let's just do it again right away, and then Firefox, and then let's edit this to say the template name is going to be Chrome, and then we get rid of everything until Chrome. I think the well was, the well was still in there. And then we get rid of the extraneous divs, and we do a propeller option L, and everything reformats okay. So that looks good. So that's the Chrome. and then Firefox. Rename the template to Firefox, and then we'll keep the well, and we'll go all the way down to Firefox. And then once Firefox ends, we'll get rid of, well, we actually know those won't be good, so let's just get rid of them. And then propeller option L reformats that. Everything is lining up nicely. So now we've got our Chrome and Firefox templates. What we also have to do is go into the router and create the routings for this. So that'll look like that. And then let's just propeller C, propeller V, Firefox, Firefox, and then finally in our navbar, let's just propeller D to make some duplicates of this. So we'll call this Chrome, and let's call this Firefox. And of course we make the labels right, so we'll say Chrome, and we'll make the label right here, Firefox. And then these guys no longer make any sense, so we'll update this. And we'll go here and we'll see, okay, so there it is, it's live reloading. And we can see now our menu items have been updated. And so here's Internet Explorer, here's Chrome, that looks good. Firefox looks great too. The only thing that's not working, and isn't even right, because it turns out that this should be home. Okay, and so we're supposed to add a link in the navbar to the home page. Okay, so let's go back to the navbar. Navbar. Here we are in our navbar. And let's duplicate this one. And we'll say path for home, because that's the name of that template. And we'll say home. And we'll go up and we'll delete that line. Save it out. Go back to Chrome. Look at history of browsers. It's refreshing. Now we've got our home link, and again, now this is going to the correct page. The only problem is our page has all that extra junk. So we've got one last piece of the action, which is now to go in our home template and say we don't need these other things. We just need that introductory thing. So let's start deleting right there. Get rid of that stuff. And it looks like, according to IntelliJ, we've got one extraneous div. Do a propeller L, reformat, that looks good, save it out. Go back to Chrome, wait for the refresh, kaboom! There we go. So that's our introduction, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, back to home. Sweet, looks really good. So we deleted the text, all the links weren't pages displayed correctly. Commit our branch and sync it to GitHub, and so added multiple pages, commit to multi-page 1, and then we'll publish that branch to GitHub, and we can now view this on GitHub, and we can see we've got our master branch here, but now we've got our multi-page branch, which has got our revised app. And we could see that, for example, if we go into Client, Templates, you can see we've got this browsers. So our recent code is now there. Okay, so I'd say 10:47, we'll call that an 11-minute RX time. Very easy, I would say, I hope. And I hope that this is giving you yet more confidence to go in and just fiddle around with Meteor application template and adjust it to whatever needs you have at the time.